Today's Groundhog Day, and we're gonna do another DIY and another holy shift short shifter, this time 5-speed. These parts are different than the 6-speed, which is why we have to make another video to show you how. Hopefully, we'll clarify a few things along the way and you'll enjoy some of the ha-has. If you're looking for a short shifter for your car, you can find this 5-speed short shifter or the 6-speed version on shaft.com. And if you don't believe how I feel, check out what Medic Magic had to say about it.
Like this thing's, oh, it's just like so notchy in such a good way. You can look at it, just lock it. Dude, that's gonna be the shot.
And remember, if you need any other parts, OEM or performance for your VW or Audi, you can check out our site and they are searchable, or you can request help from people who work here. Send us an email. Before we start the install, we're gonna install the hardware into the end links, and really easy. You're just gonna put the bolts in like this. Then you're gonna flip it over like that and put our nuts on. The reason why you do that is so that you have enough space for this to open up, and they are captive, as you can see. It's machined to allow the nuts in there, and then you can open that up to allow the cable to go in. We had these laying around, so I figured we would show you them. These are some of the 3D prints that we did for prototypes of longest, mid, longest. There was other ones too, but I think I threw them in the garbage. Tested a bunch of different versions, shorter, longer. We made some so short. Maybe we should even just sell you the shortest one. If you want the ultra short version that you could barely get into any gear and not even know where you're shifting.
Comes with a free money shift.
Just understand that a short shifter, you think shorter is better until you've gotten too short. And then you're like, Some of the parts that you're gonna see in this video are gonna look like they've been used, and it's because they are used. These are prototype parts that have been on Nathan's car, the guy behind the camera. They've been on his car for probably some time. We've been testing it, then it went into production. What you're seeing is one that's been in a car for a time. Now, if you came here for a DIY on removing the intake, you've arrived at the wrong place. This is a Mark 7. This part also fits Mark 6 and Mark 5 cars that have 5-speed transmissions in them. The car also has an aftermarket intake, so it's not gonna be the same on all cars. The intake portion, we do have a DIY on Mark 7s, which you can check out the 6-speed video, or you would wanna check out removing the intake on those other type of cars. They're gonna have a similar removal process because it's not very difficult to get there. We removed the battery tray on this car for visibility. It's not required for this job, but if you're not super experienced, it may be something you might wanna do. This is our shifter setup. This is the front to back, and this is the side to side. Now, when we can move it up and down like this means you're in neutral. And we're gonna leave it there to loosen this 13mm nut right here. You're gonna see it shift like that. That's gonna be normal. Next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna take these cable end links and we're gonna loosen them. So what you do is you grab onto this collar and you pull it forward, and then you're gonna twist it clockwise, and you're gonna see it's gonna lock on. Pull it forwards, twist it clockwise, and then you're out. Next thing we're gonna do is remove this white latch. Now this is a hook that kind of grabs on this way. So we're gonna get our hand underneath here, get our finger underneath here, and we're gonna pull it off towards the rear of the vehicle, like that. So what you're doing when you do that is grabbing it, spreading it open a little bit, and getting these barbs past the edges, and then pulling it back towards the rear of the vehicle. Now we're gonna take this side to side piece, and it's just gonna go this way. So straight out like this, and then you can rotate it forward and out of this cable. Just like that. All right, now we're gonna lock our transmission in place. This is our lock pin right here, and this should be free to move up and down. So we're gonna push this down, and then we're also gonna push in on this pin. And when you get to the right spot, I just happen to be good at it, you can just turn it and lock it in place. And then this shouldn't move up and down anymore. Now we're gonna remove this. The base piece here, this one's been off before, so this is gonna look a lot easier on this version because it is gonna be a lot easier. The first time you take yours off, especially if you have an older car that there's some corrosion and stuff in here, this is gonna be more difficult. So you may wanna spray this with penetrating oil, and we're gonna pull this upwards. Now what you're gonna wanna do is, if it's difficult to get off, because this one's gonna come off pretty easy, you're gonna wanna rock it back and forth like this while you pull up. So rock it like this, and you're gonna wiggle it up, and it's gonna kind of walk up slowly like that. Now, Again, this one's gonna come off real easy compared to yours. I don't expect yours to come off that easy unless you've had it off for some reason. All right, now, our shifter is completely floppity. There is nothing attached to it, so it can go any direction. This is on Mark 7s. The other ones are similar, but they just pop straight up. So this is easiest to grab onto it like this and kind of pop up there. Again, this one's been off, so it's a little bit easier. And then you're gonna slide this boot up. What are you talking about?
What are you talking to me?
Mark 7s have this little hole in the in this boot that's around the shifter. These things get all torn up and ripped real easy. Other cars don't, depend on the model, but this inserts into there. And you're gonna wanna go roughly towards second gear, which is left and back, to find your locating hole. And so it doesn't matter, by the way, this is tool either way. It's to the same diameter on both sides. So you can just lock that in place. And again, if you have difficulty finding it, you're gonna be going towards second gear, not fully back though. This is our base plate and it has a dimple on it, but you can look at the direction that it's pointing, and since your trans is gonna be locked, they're all gonna be facing that same direction. Line it up with in that direction, see, facing the engine, that way, and you can see it just drops on there, piece of cake. Now we're gonna install these plastic inserts. These are factory parts, and obviously yours will be white. These are not white because they're not new. Just like that. Next comes this side-to-side piece that also just pops in just like so. We're gonna leave it out a little because we gotta get our Delrin piece. Now, if you were smart, what you would do is have the Delrin piece on the side-to-side piece before, but I'm dumb, so I didn't do that. Just like that. Then we're gonna take this clippy clip and just slide it right at the end of that. Now, if that's not in all the way, there won't be the channel for it to go into. So it just pops in, slides into that channel, click, just like that. Here are the end links. We got all of our nuts threaded in and bolts threaded in. I found that this is the easiest way to do it. Because there's all these locators, keep it flipped upside down like this. Nothing will be in the way and it will allow this to open. You can just slide it on there and then spin it around just like that. Upside down, on, and then spin it. Now we're gonna take these Allen bolts and thread them in. Do not tighten them yet. So what you're gonna do is hold on to the bottom to keep that nut up and then just snug it down. And what I would do is recommend is just do it by hand, all of them. Go afterwards and actually tighten it up. Okay, now we're putting our nut on and all we're gonna do is thread it down. Now we haven't tightened this one, or this one yet. And the reason why is because if you tighten these before you unlock the trans, you could snap the pin off. So we're gonna put those in and we're gonna take that pin out. So you wiggle it, kind of wiggle it up and down while you rotate it backwards, and it will help it release. And then once that's like that, now you know you released, and we're gonna have to release it in the car too. All you're gonna do is kind of pull it out like that. And then you can check your gears now before you tighten everything down. First, second, third, fourth, fifth, and then reverse. So if you've gotten to this step and you still have an issue with shifting, in the past I've told you need to readjust your shifter. Now it's unclear to some people what I meant by that in the past, so let me clarify. Would be loosening the end link here and here, releasing the cable end links, these from the cable themselves, locking down the transmission again on the trans, locking down the transmission inside the car, and then retightening down the shifter end links. The cable length here and the depth inside of the end links is actually where the adjustment is. So this is the depth adjustment for the front to back. This is the depth adjustment for the side to side. The reason why these are known to be good is because everything is locked down in place. And this one, you can see it's just gonna shift like that. To snug it down, we'll put the torque spec on the screen for this one, and then same deal, we'll put the torque spec on the screen for that one. Now we can put that one. We'll put the torque spec on screen for this one, and it is a 13 millimeter. Something that is muy importante, that means super important. When you're tightening this 13 millimeter nut here, do not over tighten this. This is the part that's on the transmission for the selector. This is where that nut that we're talking about goes. If you over tighten this and snap this off, as you would do with you over tighten it, this piece completely will need to be replaced. This, I'll do my best Vanna White impression, and this will cost you about $400. So don't do it, because you won't want to have to replace this dollars-wise or efforts-wise. Reinstall this trim, just like that. Pop it like it's hot. Then run through our gears again. Feel the amazingness. Now that we're finished, let's take a look at the result. So here is our first gear before we did our short shifter. Now let's take a look at the first gear after our short shifter. Here's our second gear before our short shifter. Here's after. And this is the before and after for both front and back. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more like it, and get yourself a shifter. Fully shift.